Hello friends. Today I want to discuss how data is being classified in terms of how orderly this data is. And as you can imagine, there is a spectrum of how data can be classified. There is data that is really orderly, and then there is data that looks really chaotic to the eye. So we're going to see how this spectrum is structured. So as you can see, there is a spectrum for order in data. And at the very left, we have structured data. Then we have semi-structured data. And finally, we have unstructured data. How does structured data looks like? Well, structured data is usually very well structured in columns and rows. Like in this example, you can see that you have different columns like year and model and price. And you have clear rows for every item that you have in your data. So as you can see, this data is actually really well structured for human beings. So humans can read this data without any issues, and I guess you are a human being out there. One way of storing these files is in the CSV format. CSV stands for comma-separated value files. If we continue to look in the middle, we have semi-structured data. Semi-structured data is as shown in this example. Here you can see that you also can describe information about users, like you have a first name, you have a last name, you also have the address, and you have the phone numbers. But you see that the structure is not as clear as in the tabular example. There are some nested structures, like for instance, the address could be more complex because you have a street address, you have city, you have state, and the phone number also have the type, and then you have the number. So as you can see, this is something that humans can also follow, they can also read. Examples of file formats that allows you to read semi-structured data are JSON, JavaScript Object Notation, or XML, which stands for Extended Markup Language. And let's take a look now at what we actually mean by unstructured data. Unstructured data is the format in which files are basically saved inside of the computer. So this is the binary representation of files. And in this particular case, you see some text files that are stored in this binary representation, but this is also valid for images, video, sound, or any other kind of file format that you can imagine. Even executables are being stored in this format. So as I mentioned before, unstructured data format is something that human beings, cannot really make a lot of sense when they look at these numbers. Examples of file formats that can be stored in this unstructured way are video files or audio or binary files in the most general way. As a recap, there are three ways in which we classify data looking at the structure that this data has. And these three formats are structured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data. There is a set of technologies that allows you to deal with this data in very efficient manners. And this is what we are going to see in the next video.